I'm going to be brewing Weiss Nights. It's just come through. I've been looking forward to this one. Perfect timing. I had an empty pinter. I've already sanitized, purified, whatever they want to call it. I've filled this with water and I'm now ready to put this in. I am going to brew it for the longer time scale, which is I think 12 days in total. What's that? 5 days brewing, 7 days conditioning. And off comes this seal. These new seals are not coming off fully. If you look, it comes off but it leaves behind the little bit, so it's not fully coming off. Just find a knife and poke a hole, remove the plastic. Alright, so no plastic there. Let's have a smell first of all. Okay, it's mainly malt. Oh, it's just malt smell. Nice malt smell, but it's just malt. So I was expecting some sort of banana-y and clove notes to begin with. Alright, so let's pour this in. I know I'm talking nonsense because it's the yeast that's going to add that flavour, but I was hoping maybe there was some in here. Just a bit of splashing everywhere. Again, the new 1 litre pinter, when you go up to the line, does fill it quite high. I'm going to just quickly rinse this out with some hot water. So just rinsing this out, get the last bits out of here, and in it goes. I am not gonna, well, I don't think I'm gonna add any sugars or anything to this. I'm just gonna brew it as it is. They say it comes to 4.6%. What I'm going to do is shake this up and take a measure with my good old turkey baster, which I have sanitized. Okay, I've shook it all up, mixed it in. There's a nice foam there, which is always good for pitching yeast, but I'm going to be taking my measurement. So I'm going to try and work out what is the ABV of this product. I know I'm losing some beer in a sense to do this, but let's move this to the side and let's take a measurement of this. As I said, it is already at room temperature. I made sure with the measurement beforehand. We're going to get a bit of spillage here. Alright, I'm going to have to quickly cut and tidy up before I do that. Took out a little bit more than I needed, so I've just removed a bit. And now I'm going to find the original starting gravity of this beer, so we can try and work out what we're going to expect as the final ABV once it's fermented. So let's have a look. The starting gravity is 1042, which means that if we get to 1010, it's only going to be 4.2%. If the yeast has a better rate and we get to 1007, then it's going to hit the 4.6% that they state on the bottle. And if we get down to 1004, we're pushing to the 5% bracket. But I would say getting down to 10.7, 10.8 is, is possible with this. All depends on their yeast that they've got and obviously my brewing conditions with the temperature. So I'm now going to pitch this yeast, which is going to be the bit that adds this Weiss beer flavourings that we would normally expect. The yeast is going to give off those banana and clove aromas. Alright, let's pitch this in. Alright, now the yeast is pitched, it's the usual, put the cap back on, make it secure. If my needle will go on properly. There we go. And then, whoops, I've turned it too far. There we go. And on will go the good old brewing dock after I give it a nice mix up with that yeast again. There we go. And we'll turn this over. I'm going to keep this at a nice temperature, so 20 degrees or more for the next 5 days. I'll see you in a few moments for the taste test. So here we are, it's 16 days later. I brewed this for the 5 days. I cold crashed for 1 day and I left it to condition for 10 days, which is well above what they sort of recommend in their guide, but I only done that because I've been busy and hadn't had a chance to get around to open it early in the week, and it's now the weekend, so what better time than now to crack it open. I released the pressure 24 hours ago and then obviously put the dial back to off, and I have now removed any pressure today and before pouring, and I'm going to go straight into pouring. But I'm not going to use the Pinter glass for once. It's got the etching on the bottom, and that's more for the lagers. It's not meant for a Weiss beer. A Weiss beer, you need the proper glass. So for me, I'm going to be using my glass right here. Proper Weiss beer glass. I've got to be really careful because this will create a massive German Weiss beer head. And there we go. That is a beer to be proud of in any German pub at that stage. That is the way they want it. There's a lot of carbonation on this. I hope you can see the amount of carbonation rising up this glass. Regardless of the head size on that, there is a hell of a lot of carbonation rushing up, which is good. That means this is very carbonated. I mean, it's completed its carbonation cycle. It smells like a Weiss beer. It smells like a Weiss beer. I'm getting some banana-y notes coming off it at that stage. It smells like a Weiss beer. It's looking like a Weiss beer, although a little bit light, or lighter than I was perhaps expecting, but still looks perfectly fine. It does smell good. I'm going to have to dig in through the foam here to see what it's like, so let's just get straight in. That's a Weiss beer. That is nice. That is really nice. I was just tasting the second time without a mouthful of foam. That is really good. Perhaps a bit lighter than I was expecting. It's it's lighter. I thought it would be a bit darker, especially as it smelt very malty to begin with, which obviously it's made, it's a malt extract pack. But yeah, that is really nice. It's sessionable at what it is. I thought it would be a bit more of a darker, heavier one. Now this is £14, was it? Or maybe £15. I think it's 14. And it's 4.6% it was supposed to come out at. I've already poured the a test sample, which I have here to measure. Now I've got to wait for this to actually uncarbonate, and there's still quite a bit of carbonation in there, so I've got to wait for the carbonation to drop a bit more so I can get an accurate measure. And the temperature also is still quite cool, even though it's been out about 20 minutes. There's still a lot of carbonation rising up, which affects the reading. But when I did read it, it was coming out at 1010. That level is obviously going to drop as that carbonation that's lifting it up dissipates. There's no more carbonation, then it will sink down to its proper level. At the moment, that's keeping the hydrometer floating up higher. Just see where it is. Little spin. Still hovering around 1010 at the moment, but I think personally that it's probably coming to 1008. A longer brew time probably would have done this better than a longer conditioning time. It looks perfect on the condition with the amount of carbonation, haziness that's on it. Nose is good. beer is really nice. For this warmer weather, it's really refreshing as well. That is going down a treat. Just adds a bit extra to, rather than lager, just that flavour that you're getting with a Weiss beer. Really, really nice. And I've seen that we now have our new Pinter being launched, which is, I'm going to have to quickly look it up. I think it's the double space hopped or something along those lines. So it's a double IPA that is coming out at 7%. I'm just going to have a quick look, go shop and then quickly look at it, because it only just came out before, well, I only just seen it came out before I came onto this. So they've called it, Space Hopper Double IPA, 7%. It's coming in at £16 for the pack, but that actually isn't so bad, considering that some of the beers have been 13, 14, 15 pounds, and you're getting 4 to 4.6%, and they're now giving you something that's 7%, which is no doubt more hoppier, more hops involved in it, and more malt to get it to that 7% mark, and they're only charging £1 extra, and it's still the 10 pints. They haven't said you're going to be brewing less than 10 pints with it. So this is the first interesting use, I would say, of the new 1 litre packs. And it'd be interesting to see how this comes out, because if it is hoppy enough, then I don't need to buy additional hops to put in, say, the Stars and Stripes. I could just brew that. So it does make an interesting prospect, because you could, I know I like tweaking recipes, but if it comes out a beautiful hoppy beer in the first place, you're saving money on not having to do the hops and messing around at that stage. You could obviously boost the ABV a bit more if you wanted to, but I think 7% is probably more than enough for most people. You could push it into triple IPA territory if you're interested, but I've already put my order in for that. I am part of the monthly beer club, so I do get that for £12. If anyone is ever thinking of joining the beer club, now's probably a good time, because you're saving yourself a £5 on that one, and then you could buy some of the other ones that you haven't maybe had, or the Dark Matter Stout. Got to promote that one as one of the best ones I've ever had, and you'll be saving money with it. My subscription, I think I've got next month after, because I've done 6 months. I'm not sure what happens after that. I think it's a rolling contract, not sure. But yeah, this has come out beautifully. I should say, ABV wise, I meant to do the calculation, didn't I? So I'm going to be really, really quick. Go Brewer's Friend, go to their calculator. It started at 10.42, and if it's at 10.10 now, which it's saying with carbonation, then we've got 4.2%. If after I think it actually comes up to room temperature and there's less carbonation, I reckon it'll get to at least 10.8. We're looking at 4.45%. Is that right? Have I done those calculations correct? Let me just check. Yep, 4.45. So it's not exactly the 4.6% for me, but it's only minor amounts in the reading it needs to change, and then it will reach that amount. And at the end of this video, I'll probably just confirm that final amount if heating's coming on a bit now, so that'll warm it up and get rid of the carbonation. But this is the Weiss Nights. Beautiful beer, I do think so. That for me is great. I'm going to enjoy this weekend. Take care everyone, happy brewing.